Good evening. My name is Edward Sanshin Oberholzer. I'm the resident priest and guiding teacher at the Joseph Priestley Zen Sangha in Lewisburg, Pennsylvania, as well as a member of the Empty Moon Teaching Circle. As Andy Ferguson recounts it in his history, Zen's Chinese Heritage, while on his journey to Mount Tiantai, Huang Bo met another monk. I should say that Huang Bo was a Dharma heir of the great Chan master Bai Zhang. Anyway, they talked and laughed, just as though they were old friends who had long known one another. Their eyes gleamed with delight as they set off traveling together. Coming to the fast rapids of a stream, they removed their hats and took up staves to walk across. The other monk tried to lead Huang Bo across, saying, "Come over, come over." Huang Bo said, "If elder brother wants to go across, then go ahead." The other monk then began walking across the top of the water, just as though it were dry land. The monk turned to Huang Bo and said, "Come across, come across." Huang Bo yelled, "Ah, you self-saving fellow. If I'd known this before, I would have chopped off both your legs." The monk cried out, "Truly, you are a vessel for the Mahayana. I can't compare with you." And so saying, the monk vanished. Of course, walking on water isn't all that impressive. I spent a fair amount of time each summer showing my kids water striders, doing it around a dock on a lake in Maine. There are even some lizards that can run across the surface of water, though the videos I've seen remind me of the old cartoons of Wile E. Coyote running off the edge of a cliff only to look down and realize that he's out there in midair, and all of the natural gravitational consequences then ensue. Someone should have warned him of the observer's role in quantum mechanics, together with the image of quantum states collapsing when observed. Note that the monk in Huang Bo's story above simply is said to have disappeared. Perhaps he looked down, realizing that he was on top of the water, and then sank beneath the surface. Standing in the shadow of his counting house, Ebenezer Scrooge knew that he couldn't walk on thin air, saying, "I am but mortal and liable to fall." The ghost of Christmas past touched his heart, assuring him that he would be upheld in all things. He just had to believe. Jesus walked upon the Sea of Galilee. What if he had, like Wile E. Coyote, looked down? Certainly Peter did. He took the first few steps on the water's surface, but, as the Gospels tell us, when he saw that the wind was boisterous, he was afraid and began to sink. He cried, saying, "Lord, save me." And immediately Jesus stretched forth his hand and caught him and said unto him, "O thou of little faith, wherefore didst thou doubt?" On a drier note, I'd have to say that I often find myself walking down the basement stairs without a thought. And then, the moment I wonder where my next step will take me, I risk stumbling. Jan van der Weddelin spent a number of years in Zen monasteries, although enough to have seen the expectations of Westerners concerning the esoteric qualities both of Zen and of Zen priests. In his short story collection, Inspector Saito's Small Satori, the good Inspector Saito solves the mystery of the death of a Westerner, realizing that a Zen priest had killed her when she had blackmailed him in order to get him to reveal the secret esoteric skills she assumed he had, and which he knew he didn't. Saito had that first simple, quiet moment of clarity, that small satori, that secret skill that we all seek, which allowed him to see through to the solution. Now, when we think of miracles, we think of loaves and fishes. We think of walking on water, parting the Red Sea, raising Lazarus from the dead. We think of events that defy the reasonable world, the everyday world in which we live. For some of us, Arthur C. Clarke's notion that any sufficiently advanced society is indistinguishable from magic leads to hope in the miracles to be found in some unimaginable, except to science fiction writers, future. For others, it's the wonderfully absurd idea that a society as sophisticated as Iceland's may still believe, however tenuously, in fairies, elves, and trolls. But these are not the real miracles. No, they're the pretend, the faux miracles, the false buttresses of a wavering faith, whatever the Vatican may say. Real miracles are the quiet intake of your breath, the gentle reddening of the sun just before dawn, the mewing insistence of your cat wanting to be fed in the morning. Step out of your front door. Wave at the neighbors across the street. Now, you don't have to expect the hand of God to reach down and ward off COVID as you injudiciously rush out to shake your neighbor's hand. The simple miracle of your own common sense can stand like the angel Gabriel in your own defense. You yourself are that miracle. Real miracles are the everyday. Layman Pang was once asked what miraculous powers he had. I chop wood. I carry water, he said. Well, I brew beer. You pickle cucumbers. He bakes bread. Have you ever noticed how magical yeast is? There in your own hands is the power to rival anything that the alchemists sought. You have this. You transform simple ingredients into the staff of life. There is no deep secret to be sought. It's right there. Louis Sullivan, the 19th century teacher of the architect Frank Lloyd Wright, urged us to think in simples. Open your eyes. Sit back and accept this with open hands. The miraculous unfolds in flowers pushing their way up through the ground after the winter months, in the birds flitting about in the trees in my backyard, and yes, in the deer eating those flowers back down to the ground. Tiny miracles, and all there for us. All we have to do is take the time to look. I wake in the morning. I boil water. And is there anything more wondrous than water? Here in our own homes, solid, liquid, and gas. I grind beans, dark, rich, brown, fragrant with the possibility of morning comfort. And I brew that coffee to be poured steaming into mugs that someone down on Penn's Creek had fashioned from clay dug from the surrounding hills. Is there anything more magical than that first sip of coffee? Truly a sacrament, a celebration of all these minor miracles of transformation, made the more so because I can share it with my wife. Next week, the Weather Service tells us there may be thunderstorms. Vico, the Italian 18th century philosopher, saw thunder as the origins of man's belief in the gods. It certainly works that way for my neighbor's cat. But in the pauses between rain squalls, go outside, look for those small signs of summer, the daffodils and crocuses. Yes, and the dandelions just springing up. These are miracles. These are the true gods. Thank you all.